What if your backyard, even a tiny one, even a balcony, could feed you something fresh in every single month of the year? Not a summer hobby garden, real year-round food, grown in a space smaller than a parking spot. Now I know what you might be thinking. 3 things. You'd need acres of land, you'd need to quit your job to keep up with it, and it'd cost a fortune to build. None of that is true. Not one bit. This is the micro-homestead method. 10 moves that stack together to turn a small space into a year-round food source. We're counting all 10 down, from the foundation to the single move that ties the whole system together. And wait until number 4, the one that has me out there in January, brushing snow off a little cover to cut fresh salad, while everyone else is paying winter prices at the store. Stay to the end too. There's one free habit that keeps this whole thing feeding itself, year after year, for nothing. Let's grow. Welcome to Nature's Nest TV. So glad you're here. This channel runs on one simple promise. You can grow real food and real independence from the grocery store, no matter how small your space or your budget. You don't need a farm. You need a plan. If that's the life you're building, hit subscribe and tap the bell so every one of these practical money-saving guides finds its way to you. Okay, let's build your micro-homestead. Number 10. Raised beds and containers, the foundation. Move number 10, raised beds and containers. This is the foundation everything else sits on. Here's why it opens the list. It frees you from your yard's limitations entirely. Bad soil, all paving, a rented patio, a balcony? Doesn't matter. With raised beds and pots, you bring the good soil with you and grow anywhere. Here's the surprising part. A small raised bed is actually more productive inch for inch than a big in-ground row garden. The soil warms faster, drains better, and you never compact it by walking on it, so the plants grow harder. Here's how. Place your beds and pots where the sun is. Spend one day just watching your space and put your growing in the spot that gets the most hours of light. That single decision matters more than almost anything else. Grow tip: fill beds with a rich mix of compost and potting soil. Good soil is the whole game. Cost reality. A simple bed or a few large pots. A modest one-time cost. Good soil. The main expense. And it lasts for years. Total, a small setup that pays you back every season after. Coming up at number 9, the crops that hand you the most food for the least space, and just keep giving. Number 9, high-yield cut-and-come-again crops. Move number 9, choose high-yield cut-and-come-again crops. In a tiny space, every square inch has to earn its keep. So here's the move. Fill it with the plants that give back the most. Skip the crops that take up a huge area for a single payoff and lean into the ones you harvest from again and again. Here's the surprising part. A few pots of leafy greens and herbs can outfeed a much bigger patch of, say, a single head of cabbage. Lettuce, kale, chard, spinach, and herbs like parsley and basil. You snip what you need, and they regrow for weeks or months. Here's how. Plant these generously and always harvest the outer leaves, never the whole plant, so the center keeps producing. Grow tip: a couple of pots of mixed greens by the kitchen door means salad is always 10 steps away, and you'll actually use it. Cost reality. Seeds: a couple of dollars a packet with hundreds of plants inside. Total: a few dollars for greens that would cost you that much every few days at the store. Up next at number 8, the move that doubles, even triples, your growing space without adding a single square inch of ground. Number 8, grow vertical, up, not out. Move number 8, grow up, not out. This is where tiny spaces start to feel surprisingly big. The trick is simple. When you run out of ground, you grow into the air. Here's the surprising part. A huge number of crops actually prefer to climb. Beans, peas, cucumbers, squash, tomatoes, even melons. Give them something to climb and they grow up a wall or a trellis instead of sprawling across your precious floor space. Here's how. Add a trellis behind a bed, hang pots on a sunny fence, mount a vertical planter on a bare wall, or train climbers up a simple net. Suddenly 1 square foot of ground is producing a whole vertical column of food. Design tip: a wall of greenery and hanging fruit doesn't just feed you. It turns a plain fence or balcony into a lush, private little jungle. Grow tip: Vertical plants also get more airflow and sun, so they're often healthier and easier to pick, and you don't need to buy anything. A hanging fabric shoe organizer, a stack of cheap pots, or an old wooden pallet leaned against a wall all become instant vertical gardens. Cost reality, a trellis or netting, a few dollars, or free if you repurpose an old pallet or some string. Total? Almost nothing to multiply the space you already have. Coming up at number 7. The planting trick that grows 3 crops in the space most people use for 1. Number 7. Interplanting, no bare soil. Move number 7, interplanting and refusing to leave bare soil. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything in a small space. Bare soil is wasted soil. Every empty patch between your plants is a missed meal. Here's the surprising part. You can grow several crops in the very same spot at the same time as long as you pair them smartly. Tuck fast crops between slow ones and shallow-rooted plants beside deep-rooted ones. Here's how. Plant quick radishes or lettuce between young, slow-growing tomatoes or peppers. By the time the big plants need the room, you've already harvested the little ones. You get 2 or 3 harvests from one piece of ground. Grow tip. Grow shade-loving greens in the cool shadow of taller plants. They shelter each other and nothing goes to waste. Design tip. Layered, mixed planting also looks lush and full rather than like rows of bare dirt. Cost reality. This one's a technique, not a purchase. Total? Free. It just means more food from the exact same space. Up next at number 6, the single habit that turns one big harvest into a steady supply that never stops. Number 6. Succession. Sowing move number 6, succession sowing, always be planting the next thing. Here's the problem this solves. Most beginners plant everything at once, get one giant glut they can't possibly eat, and then nothing, bare beds for the rest of the season. Here's the surprising part. The fix is tiny. Instead of sowing a whole packet of lettuce in one go, you sow a small pinch every couple of weeks. A little, often, here's how. Every week or 2, pop a few new seeds into any gap that's opened up. As you pull one crop, the next is already coming up behind it. That steady rhythm is the real secret behind food all year. A constant trickle instead of one big flood. Grow tip. Keep a little tray of seedlings always started and waiting, so the moment a space frees up, you fill it the same day. Cost reality, same seeds, just spread out over time. Total, no extra cost, only a smarter rhythm. Quick pause right here, because the next half is where this method really comes alive. Hey, quick pause just a second. If this is starting to feel doable, do me a favor and tap that like button. It genuinely helps this reach more people who want to grow their own food and lean a little less on the grocery store. And tell me in the comments, how big is your growing space? A yard, a patio, a single sunny windowsill? I read everyone and I love seeing what people are working with. 5 more to go, and this is where a tiny backyard turns into a real year-round food source. Keep watching. Number 5, the perennial layer. Move number 5, plant a perennial layer. Here's the move that does the most work while you do the least. Alongside your seasonal crops, you plant things that come back on their own year after year with almost no effort from you. Here's the surprising part. Once a perennial is established, you essentially plant it once and harvest it for a decade or more. Asparagus, rhubarb, perennial herbs like rosemary, thyme, and chives, and fruiting plants like berries, they wake up and feed you every season automatically. To put that in perspective, a single asparagus crown planted once can keep producing spears every spring for 15 to 20 years. Here's how. Give them a permanent corner or a dedicated pot, somewhere you won't disturb them, and let them settle in. The first year they establish, after that, they just produce. Grow tip. Tuck them along edges and in corners, so your prime space stays free for fast seasonal crops. Cost reality. A few perennial plants, a one-time cost. Total? You pay once and that corner feeds you for years, the best return in the whole garden. Up next at number 4, the one I teased at the start. The move that keeps fresh food coming even when there's frost on the ground. Number 4, grow through winter, season extension. Move number 4, here it is, the one I promised. Growing through winter. This is the move that takes you from a summer gardener to someone with genuinely year-round food. And the first time you cut a crisp, fresh salad in the dead of winter, while the stores are charging a premium for sad, shipped-in greens, it feels almost magical. I'll be honest with you, there's nothing I love more than heading out in January, brushing a little snow off a simple cover, and harvesting greens that taste better than anything in the shop. Here's the surprising part. A lot of crops are tougher than we are. Kale, spinach, mash, leeks, and many others shrug off the cold, and a little protection takes them even further. Here's how. Cover a bed with a cold frame, a clear cloche, or even a simple hoop of plastic. That pocket of trapped warmth lets cold hardy greens keep growing through the chill. No outdoor space? A sunny windowsill does the same job indoors. Grow tip. Plant these in late summer so they're well grown and ready before the cold sets in. Cost reality? A cold frame or some hoops in plastic, a small one-time cost, or build it from scraps. Total? A little shelter for fresh food in the months you'd normally pay the most. Up next at number 3, the move that lets you grow far more than just vegetables in a tiny space. Number 3, grow protein in small spaces. Move number 3, grow protein, not just produce. Here's a truth most small space growers miss. You can't live on salad alone. A real food source needs more than leaves. And the surprising part is, you can grow protein in a tiny space too. Here's how. Beans and peas dried right off the plant, store for months and are packed with protein, and they climb, so they barely take any room. Sprouts and microgreens give you fresh, nutrient-dense food on a countertop in days. And mushrooms? You can grow a whole flush of them from a simple kit in a dark corner or under the sink. No light, no yard, no problem. And if your local rules allow it, a couple of backyard hens turn your kitchen scraps into fresh eggs every single day. That part's optional and it's not for everyone, but it's the classic next step for a reason. Grow tip. Even one shelf of rotating sprouts and mushrooms meaningfully rounds out what your garden gives you. Cost reality? Bean seeds? Pennies? A mushroom kit? A modest one-off. Total? A small spend for the protein piece most gardens forget. And now, number 2. The move that makes a single summer harvest feed you deep into winter. Number 2, preserve the harvest move. Number 2, preserve your harvest. Here's the move that finally makes a whole year of food real, instead of just a summer of plenty. Because no matter how small your space, there will be moments when it gives you more than you can eat at once. The skill is catching that surplus instead of letting it rot. Here's the surprising part. You don't need fancy equipment or canning expertise to start. The easiest methods are almost effortless. Here's how. Freeze berries, beans, and chopped greens on a tray, then bag them. They'll feed you in January. Ferment a glut of cabbage or cucumbers into sauerkraut or pickles with nothing but salt and a jar. Hang herbs and chilies to dry, or dry them in a low oven. Suddenly, August's abundance becomes a pantry that lasts. Grow tip. Preserve in small batches as things ripen, so it never becomes one overwhelming chore. And start with the no-risk methods. Freezing, drying, and quick fridge pickles are foolproof. Leave proper pressure canning for later once you've learned to do it safely. Cost reality. A few jars and some freezer bags. Total? Almost nothing to stretch your harvest across every season. But we've saved the best for last. Number 1 isn't another move. It's the plan that pulls all 9 of these together. Number 1, the 4-season plan, capstone. And finally, number 1, the 4-season plan. This is the move that turns 9 separate tricks into one living system. Here's why it earns the top spot. On its own, each move helps. But stacked together on a simple calendar, they become a tiny space that's always growing something, always being harvested and always feeding you. That's the whole micro-homestead method in a single idea. Here's how it comes together. Your raised beds and vertical walls hold fast, high-yield crops, kept flowing by succession sowing and packed tight with interplanting. Your perennial corner anchors it all, returning every year for free. As the cold arrives, your cold frames carry fresh greens through winter, your protein crops and mushrooms fill the gaps, and your freezer and pantry, stocked from summer, cover the leanest months. Think of it as a wheel that never stops turning. Spring sows, summer harvests, and preserves. Fall plants the winter crops. Winter feeds you from cover and pantry. And then it all begins again. Grow tip. Sketch it out, just once. 4 boxes on a page, 1 per season, with a note of what's growing and what you're eating in each. That single page is your entire homestead, planned, and don't feel you have to do all 10 at once. Start with 2 or 3 moves this year: a raised bed, some greens, a perennial corner, and simply layer the rest in as you go. The wheel builds itself, one season at a time. Cost reality: you've gathered the pieces across this whole list. Total: a modest, mostly one-time setup for a tiny space that quietly feeds you all year. And here's what really matters: this changes something deep. You stop being fully dependent on a shelf at the store, and you start to feel the quiet security of knowing that whatever happens, your own little patch is feeding you. That feeling, that's the whole point. Now, the free habit I promised. The one that keeps this entire system feeding itself year after year for nothing. And it truly costs you zero. Here it is. Close the loop. Compost everything. Here's the thing nobody tells beginners. The real engine of a micro-homestead isn't the plants. It's the soil. And in a small, intensive space where you're asking the same beds to produce again and again, that soil gets tired fast. Most people fix it by buying bag after bag of fertilizer. You won't have to. Here's why composting changes the game. Every vegetable peel, every coffee ground, every spent plant and handful of fallen leaves is packed with the exact nutrients your soil just gave up. Throw them away, and you're literally throwing your fertility in the bin, then paying to replace it. Compost them instead, and they break down into rich, free food for your soil. The garden begins to feed itself. You don't need anything fancy. A simple bin in a corner or even a small container under the sink is enough to start. So here's your do-it-now homework. Find any container right now and start collecting your kitchen scraps today. Don't bin them, bank them. That one free habit is the invisible difference between a garden that slowly wears out and a true homestead that renews itself season after season on its own. So, there you have it. The micro-homestead method, 10 moves that prove you don't need acres of land, you don't need to quit your job, and you don't need a fortune to grow real food all year long. You just need a small space, a simple plan, and the will to start. Think back over what we built, from those productive little raised beds, to growing straight up a bare wall, to harvesting fresh salad in the snow, all the way to a 4-season plan that keeps your tiny space feeding you every single month. Every one of these moves is doable. Every one of them works in a small space. And every one of them puts a little more food and a lot more peace of mind into your own hands. Now I want to hear from you. Which move are you starting with this week? Building your first raised bed, planting a perennial corner, or setting up a cold frame for winter? Tell me your plan in the comments. I read every one, and I'm genuinely cheering you on. If this helped and you're not subscribed yet, now's the moment. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and join a whole community of people quietly building their own little homesteads, one small space at a time. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It truly means a lot. Now go map out that space and grow something amazing. I'll see you in the next one.